You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic. The tire tracks were left here by an unknown event that took place some days ago. It's a message, written in the language of burnt rubber.
Right, so it started there, reverser, and turned there.
Some of that rubber stuck to the tiles right in front of the whirling in rags. This is point A. The driver started there and then accelerated straight into the fence, left a hole big enough for the Franco-Nigerian cavalry, according to the cafeteria manager.
And next?
The driver proceeded to back out of the yard, barely stopping before hitting the adjacent building, before heading south. Must have been in a hurry.
Car drove through the fence.
You are correct.
Is it?
This is a rather motor carriage friendly city.
And is it connected to the case?
I'm not sure. There are plenty of traffic accidents waiting to happen in Martinez. With the jam right here on the roundabout, I would keep them separate.
You could follow the track south. There seems to be a canal there. See where they went, if you find the time.
Alright, let's go look at this body first. That's a body.
There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked here.
Let's see what kind of boots.
Heavy workers' boots with reinforced toes and hobnails, all over the yard. Isn't this something an industrial worker would wear? What do you think you are? A super detective? You're hungover. These are just dents in the mud. No pattern emerges for the time being.
Alright, so these are worker boot tracks.
Noted.
Alright.
The corpse looks at you with bulging white eyes. The face around them does not look human. It's swollen and ready to burst. His lips are fish-like and his tongue like a ball gag in his mouth. You seem to be holding your breath. A cargo belt twists his neck at an unnatural angle. The body below appears stiff. It's letting out an ungodly rot. The smell seeps in even through your clenched nostrils.
What is it? Well, it's been hanging for a week.
Active decay. It's okay to throw up, officer. No one is judging.
He's about to blow! Cop's gonna blow, Kuno!
Kuno's got this!
If there ever was such a thing as an ugly kid, then this is it. He's almost exquisite in his ugliness, like a gremlin.
Oh yeah! Nappa Gumpy, Kuno!
Hey, kid. A word. Police business.
Right in the dick, Kuno! Get him right in the dick!
It's love it in the dick.
The boy is sweating profusely. His eyes are like two black holes and his jaw is twitching as if trying to break free from the empire of his body.
Could you stop throwing rocks at the crime scene?
Fuck that! Kuno, yeah! Right in the mouthhole!
Oh boy.
Shits himself.
The rake, Kuno! You should throw the rake at him, Kuno!
The fuck? Does Kuno know what a rake is? Kuno's not a gardener.
I've got questions for you.
Alright, entertain the Kuno. Show me what you got. What you got there? What you got, huh? Show.
Irregular speech patterns, overconfidence. Could this kid be on drugs? This warrants further investigation into this Kuno.
The body, what do you know about it?
Shitload pig. What's your question?
Don't tell the pig shit, Kuno!
What do we know?
If I were to want to waste my time, which I do not, I would ask them who he is, how he got there, and the usual.
The usual being, have you seen anything out of the ordinary? Or have you seen anything suspicious?
Right. I'm a cop. I know this. Do you know who he was?
Kuno's fuck imp. Kuno uses the fuck imp for target practice.
He's trying to hide the fact that he doesn't know.
I mean, do you know who he was before he died?
Kuno knows what you meant. Kuno's not a snitch. That's all. Trying to make Kuno sing into the popo phone.
Do you know how it got up there?
Probably climbed. Kuno was busy down the road when that shit went down.
So you didn't see anything happen?
You heard Kuno. Kuno wasn't even in Martinez. Kuno wasn't in Revachol. Kuno wasn't regional.
Okay, so where do you go then?
I don't know. Some fucking
Yeah?
Mesk or I don't know. Some other place. Night City. Kuno was in fucking Night City.
There is no Night City anywhere. That sounds like the name of a city in some pulp science fiction novel.
Right. And fictional city name. Alright, where is Night City?
Kuno gives this info out on a need-to-know basis, and you don't need to know. Kuno didn't smoke the gimp, if that's what you meant.
Thanks, Kuno. That's one name you can now cross off the list.
Have you seen anybody suspicious around?
Just a couple of pigs sniffing around in the dirt. That seems pretty fucking suspicious to Kuno.
Yeah, you tell the faggoty, Kuno.
Looks like you're a fagari now, whatever that means. The suspicious question doesn't really work in antagonistic situations.
Alright, more on this later. Let's talk about something
You're
else.
testing Kuno's patience here.
Get lost,
About the crime scene. You guys often play in this yard?
Right, pig? This is where Kuno plays with his little wooden choo-choo. What do you want with it?
The ladder's yours?
No, it's not fucking Kuno's. It's ancient. Look at it.
He thinks you're fucking fool, Kuno. He says you climb the ladder up to your magic treehouse.
Get the fuck out of here, pig. Kuno doesn't have a magic treehouse. Yeah, whatever. Kuno doesn't give a shit. Yeah, the king. Yeah, whatever. Kuno doesn't give a shit.
Who is Kuno?
Kuno's Kuno, pig.
Oh, you're Kuno.
It's always Kuno, never I. Clearly the kid's using the third-person perspective as a shield.
So why do you refer to yourself in the third person?
The fuck are you calling a third person? Kuno's the fucking first person.
Watch out, Kuno. He's trying to fiddle you. He's gonna put his hands on you. Help! Pig's got Kuno. Help! Rape!
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Help! He's got the Kuno, help!
I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah? Get out of here before the Kuno beats the shit out of you.
Yeah, that's right. Drag your fat ass out of here, fat boy, before Kuno fucks you.
Bang! Got fucked by the Kuno. We alright? You wanna get fucked again? Come back.
Well, that was not any good. Somebody's trying to grow some herbs. I'll take. Got some magnesium. Got that much money. Alright, some stuff. Oh, there's a fence over here. Oh, I can double
An
click.
inconspicuous pile of the roofing material, Eternite.
Let's take a look.
Because it's nice and orderly. Well-laid pallets, easy on the eyes. Rhythmic pattern calms your mind. Mammals like this stuff.
What is this?
It's nothing. Someone just left some roofing material slanted against an old shack.
Alright. It can't go over there. It looks like a door.
An inconspicuous part.
Alright. It looks like a door almost. Alright, let's look over here. The R wears a crown.
This trash container is locked. The sliding lid has a padlock that says, whirling in rags.
Am I looking in a trash container? You're a trash container.
The body is downwind from here. Maybe you prefer the smell of garbage to the smell of death.
How do we get the lock
We
open?
could try using a pry bar. There's one in my motor carriage,
Or
we could ask for a key from the manager of the Whirling in Rags. He probably has one.
He might also have information. This is better than the pry bar I'd...
all right. Well, talk to the guy in the lorry gigs, and there might be a murder weapon in there. Guess we should talk to the kid. Hi.
Kuno, the pig's getting pretty close to me. Come to snuff my shit out, I think. Looks like it's time for me to go, Kuno. Pig's come to take me in.
I just want to ask you some questions, kid.
I'm going away for a long, long time, Kuno. Going away for life.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What's going on there? Fuck are you trying to pull, pig?
You there, behind the fence.
You don't want to fuck with me. I got my hands bloody. I'm not here, pig. You're not seeing this.
You can still see the top of her hat from behind the fence.
I'll die before I squeal, pig.
Hey, kid.
What's this kid shit? Fucking mind games. I'd rather die than squeal.
Get the fuck out of here,
I'll die before I squeal. I come from the woods, good Davidu. You don't want to go there with me. You don't want to see what I've seen.
Don't be traumatized.
I'll die before I Murder was the case they gave me.
Alright. That's fine. Alright, so there's tracks, there's mud. Let's take a look over here.
An old call box with a matrix of push buttons lists all the companies in the East Delta Commerce Center.
Ah, I see.
This button looks new, but someone has removed the name card. Nothing happens when you try to ring it.
Huh. This button looks new. It's probably not connected yet.
Everything is connected to this case. Oh. Main building, Roy Gay Rice.
Nothing happens after you ring the doorbell. They don't want to talk to you.
Okay. Right, nothing there. Bottles inside. It's like a lot of books. Ma'am, have you seen anything strange?
Hello, sir. Step right in. The store is open.
Hello.
Are you interested in a new and exciting book?
Is it okay if I ask you some questions?
Okay, sir. I'll try to answer any questions you have. I hope they're about books.
What's your name?
My name is Annette, sir. My mum, her name is Plaisance. She owns the store. She's inside minding the register or organising the stock. Feel free to step in and browse our wares.
Why are you standing in the cold?
I'm signalling that the store is open. Otherwise, people might not know. They'd miss out on the crime, romance, and biographies of famous people.
Such a good trooper.
Thank you, sir. I'm happy to help Mum out with the store.
Shouldn't you be at school?
I do my studies at home at the moment. I have to help Mum keep this place running. School? Well, mine is a big yellow building on Boogie Street, and the people there run it. They say it's a charity.
Isn't school more important than this?
Mum says it's necessary to do both, because it builds character. Mum says a proper worker is dutiful. That's how you get ahead in life.
There is stress and unease behind these words. She's reciting etiquette.
I see. Her mom's making her say this shit.
Mum says it's peachy. She was a little afraid at first. There's talk about this house being cursed.
In what way?
Cursed in the way that makes them say that no business has ever really thrived here, sir. That they all go...
Bankrupt.
Exactly. But we've been doing fine so far.
It sounds rather serious. Maybe I'll look into it.
We can go into the bookstore and ask about the case. But I don't see much more to look into here.
Yes. Please do also look at our wares inside. The postcards and board games are there, sir.
what do you know about the other failed businesses?
Nothing really, sir. Mum doesn't allow me to sneak around in the back rooms or the cellar. I don't really know what's there.
And how did this curse manifest itself?
It does not manifest itself in any way. It does not exist. I liked it better when we were talking about whether it's appropriate to stand out in the freezing weather.
But, Kim, the plastic manifestations!
No such thing.
Alright, fine.
Anything else you wanted to talk about, sir?
No, I'll go.
Maybe I can tell you about some of our books instead.
Crime business?
Crime fiction is about murders or burglaries or things like that, and the work of a policeman or a private detective who's trying to solve a crime and catch the criminals.
Alright, I get it.
And it's kind of like a puzzle too. You can guess who the criminal is or how the good guys are going to catch him.
I'm the cop, by the way.
You don't look much like a policeman.
What does one look like? Other than being in uniform.
Didn't mean to offend, sir. Sorry, sir. It's just that you don't look like Dick Mullen.
I have other questions.
More about books, maybe?
What about the famous people?
Oh, kings and queens and generals of old, or artists and writers, or musicians, those kinds of people. There's usually something extraordinary about them. I think that's why people read them, to find the secrets of their fame.
Seems like most people who read those books fail to get more famous from reading them.
Right. I have a different question in mind. Alright, what about the romance?
It's the type of book where there's a rich lady and she has to choose between the good man and the bad man.
Ah, like in your situation.
Or there could be a story about a poor lady getting a rich man. It's about man and lady business, sir.
And what about when everyone is poor?
That's really not a proper romance story. That's more like everyday life.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta write about real life.
Not in romance books, sir. These are about nice and pretty people, and everyone is happy in the end.
Alright.
Maybe some about other books?
Alright, I'll go inside. Maybe she saw something. Hello, ma'am? I'm here to question you, because I am a police person, apparently. Alright, so natural receipts, they're about lake trout. Old magazines.
The plaque on the shelf reads, Biographies of Famous People. You see a large variety of names, none of which ring a bell. Browsing through all the books with all their names makes your head spin. None of these seem important or relevant. It's all just vapid egoism. Suddenly, a particularly odd title catches your eye. It reads, High Speed Love, the tragic true love story of Jacob Irv and Alfie Delatraz, by one Cecilia Averbrook.
What's this one about?
High Speed Love chronicles the romance between two of the finest tip-top tourney racers in history. One of them is the madcap driver, Jacob Irv. His blonde mane graces the cover. Next to Irv's life story, you see a slim biography of an Occidental rock star called the Anti-Star. He's famous for shooting morphine into one of his eyeballs and cocaine into the other.
Interesting.
Next to that, Rivasholian radio personality Guillaume Bevy stands in front of a rundown drug den. He's a permanent fixture on Channel 8, reporting on real-life crime and ruining cops' days.
I really must insist you buy one of the books. Reading them is not for free. Do still browse though, but not too long. I'm sorry, I did not mean to rush you. You are browsing. Go ahead. Take your time. Time is commerce.
Anything of note here, shopkeep?
I would say... The Greatest Innocence. Yes, most certainly. It's an important educational tool, delving into the depths of history, religion, and their relation to innocentic power.
Who or what is an innocent?
A very influential historical figure. But surely I don't have to tell you that. You're a law officer, and law officers have at least some education. The book is also very daring. The author aims to re-examine the universal understandings of the innocentic system, creating a fresh vantage point and a shift in the tired order of things.
So you recommend it?
Certainly, it's prudent for a person to have at least an elementary understanding of history and society. Imagine the chaos we'd be in otherwise.
You feel like you should get this one. Definitely. It's important somehow. There's something personal inside.
I have no money.
These shelves are overburdened with books from the same series. You see the name Dick Mullen. Oh, crime fiction is a disgrace. An asinine misrepresentation of the physical attributes of the arduous everyday work of actual police officers. These books greatly overstate the excitement of police work, glossing over how long it takes to actually follow up on leads and eliminate dead ends. What's more, they completely ignore the psychological hardships of year after year coming into contact with people during the worst days of their lives.
Sounds a little personal, don't we? Aren't we, game?
Not a single mention of all the stress this work creates upon the officer's family. Detective fiction just doesn't tell the truth at all. Now, would you like a list of all the books found on the shelf?
Nope.
Shelves filled to the brim with crime novels featuring the supposedly stalwart Vespertine detective, Dick Mullen.
Alright, let's talk to this lady. Maybe she saw something. Hello, ma'am. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People. My name is Plaisance. Be welcome, and please take responsibility for the energy you bring into this space.
Are you the owner here?
I am the proudest owner of our little shop of culture.
And your daughter's the one outside?
Annette, yes, my daughter. I hope she wasn't slacking off again with her nose in science fiction. Tell me, was she at her post doing her job like a proper girl?
Oh, she was fine.
Wonderful. Did you talk to her?
Yes.
Great. On a scale of 1 to 10, how compelled were you to buy books after talking with her?
She's very polite.
My precious, her dedication brings joy to my heart. If you have children, I hope they turn out as great as my Annette.
Yeah, she's quite a trooper.
As a young girl should be. With the proper attitude, she'll have a bright financial future.
Alright, so...
The woman before you scans the store, her shoulders rigid and tense.
So, is
Every now and then, she nudges her glasses.
this place cursed?
Cursed? Who said that? Annette? I will have a word with her. This place is not cursed. It has a robustly magnetic energy. Good for commercial activity. My business is thriving, sir.
Is it? Is it? I don't see anybody here.
What in God's name is she talking about?
What if I want to buy a book?
Goodness, you were already doing good, browsing the shelves. Why'd you stop? Don't you feel compelled? Go, go. Get back there. The books await you.
I don't have any money. What type of books do you have?
Everything is on the shelves. Take a look yourself. The shelves compel you, don't they?
Alright.
She smiles and nods.
Very well, book peddler.
You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another room. A strange cage-like trinket dangles from the curtains.
Excuse me, officer. The back room is strictly for employees only.
You see some kind of charm, an irregular polyhedron assembled from bones, sticks, and straw. Inside, a disturbing fish head with empty eye sockets stares at you. This is a traditional Seminese ward, meant to provide protection against ill luck, bad dreams, curses, and other supernatural scourges.
Who are the Seminese?
Inhabitants of Ile de Fantôme, the Seminine Islands down south. Aside from poking at it suspiciously, there is nothing else to do with the fish head charm at this time. The curtains remain shut before you.
What's behind the curtains?
Nothing. Now please go back to browsing the books. Don't you feel compelled to look at the books? The books are all you care about.
She speaks almost as if she's trying to put a spell on you, urging you to buy more books. Oddly enough, the more she tries to draw you away from the curtains, the more alluring they become.
I'll come back. Alright. Um. Alright, let's go here. Broken window tips has windows. Bag in your hand. Well, can't do anything. Maybe this guy saw something. Oh. Alright, seabirds. Anything here? Bullet hole.
This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest. Its coin slot is full of fossilized bubblegum, rendering the machine permanently inactive. A thick layer of graffito covers the lenses. You spell out the word Onuk written on the other side, with N and C scribbled backwards.
So Kuno.
That's Kuno on the lens. Under the graffito, a sea of blues and greys appear. Behind the water lies a coast studded with concrete and reeds. On it, a church on stilts, lanky weather-worn wooden planks, an X-shaped cross topping its tower. You know this to be the Star of Pericarnassus, or the Cairo, the central symbol of the Pericarnassian Church, a star, a great moral height to be strived towards. Around the large wooden building you see chunks of sea ice gathered on the beach, and a small tent set up on the ice.
Probably some kids.
This coin-operated viewer is facing. Why place a tourist attraction in the middle of such poverty?
There was a revitalization project in 49. A design studio tried restoring Martinez to its pre-war glory. It didn't stick.
What happened?
They got as far as the street lamps and the statue on that intersection. Then something went sour. I suspect that something was Everard Clare, the union leader. He muscled them out. It's how it usually goes around here.
Can't we do anything about it?
We should have done something about the union 10 years ago. That ship has sailed, officer.
I'm not gonna spend my money. Alright, is there anything over here? No. Alright, wait, what's over here? That's a bird. Exploration! Wait, there's a girl up there? Did she spill paint? Apartments. A roundabout. What's over here?
This is a wall on the side of an apartment building.
I can't conceptualize anything. How about this? Oh. Hi there.
Are you trying to sneak up on me? Come to slit my throat in my sleep?
Logic error. She is not sleeping right now.
Pigs come to take me out? Trying to snuff me out?
Why would you even say that?
Then why are you sneaking up on me like that? It's not a good idea to scare me, pig. Not a good idea at all.
Oh. What we got over here? Garden holes. Tables. More bullets. That's locked. I am not wearing a bum hat. Okay, can't get up there. Can't get up there. Hello?
There must be another way into the building.
That was really loud. Alright. That has something interesting, but I can't decipher any of that. Okay, that can't be opened. Let's check out what's down here. I mean, I'm finding lots of things. Lots of interesting things. Locking residents. Excuse me, sir.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing
Ma'am,
boat.
ma'am,
smiling
I'm sorry.
As you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good morning, officers. I'm Joyce.
Nice to meet you.
Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
Joyce, what does the L stand for?
Phaeton, my maiden name.
Shake her hand.
I'm glad to see you here. I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will. Glad.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
Can you tell me what about the Wild Pines? What do they do?
What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
So what do they do?
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain.
Oh, who are the other Indo tribes?
Son Baptiste, Elysium, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
So you're in good company, it seems.
Why, thank you.
How much money does the Wild Pines have?
I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
Wow.
20 billion is a large number, but the conglomerate employs 72,000 people. They all need to be paid. Then there are capital improvements, interest payments.
Blah, 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 blah. Capitalism, capitalism, capitalism.
A conglomerate the size of the Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It's a tremendous responsibility.
And where did they get all the billions?
They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Easterlers 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lormentang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it.
Which probably helps. So what does such a huge system want with a place like this?
You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo?
8%? That's quite the endeavor.
There are no minor cogs in the system. Each terminal must be accounted for, lest the entire system break. Every hiccup in such a system means thousands lose their jobs, the world over. I'm here to assure that doesn't happen.
Turbo research mine, research time. Okay, so if I research this... Why do you feel like there were 15? Okay. So we're researching this, because I have nothing else to research. Alright.
With your help, hopefully, says her warm tone.
Could you tell me about the strike?
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets.
Trade secrets.
First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Aliments. That gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus.
I wouldn't want to disturb an octopus.
I am glad you see it that way. To repeal the act would mean repealing the coalition government. The one that leases you the right to police West Revachol.
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words.
So don't disturb the octopus,
But
got
I
it.
am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike.
Yeah, what's your role?
I believe the official title is Senior Labour Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
I see, so you're a negotiator.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter 20 racist behemoth blocking the gates.
Tell me more about this behemoth.
What can I say? The union employs a giant covered in tattoos. A racist giant. I guess that's part of their big tent organization now.
And how's everything going before the lynching?
Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
Yeah, why were you here 2 months after?
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
What happened to Gaumont?
Mr. Clare told him to, how did he put it?
Go fuck himself?
Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
Ah, okay then.
Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union.
What are their demands?
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes, every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Seems like they don't really have any idea for business.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker, a member of the board.
Most of them probably don't know what it means.
Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal.
That's not that doesn't you can't run a machine like that.
Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
So what are you going to do?
I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, call me mañana.
This checks out.
And tell me about the union boss?
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
Truly?
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
Is he that bad?
He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
Wait, there's two of them?
Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues.
And what about the union itself outside the brothers?
The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is...
So basically a socialist mob.
Thank you for being candid. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the wolf always hungers.
Oh, you said something about elections?
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore. Or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
Probably some kind of extortion.
Indeed. The company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Okay, let's change the topic.
Of course. How else can I help?
What can you tell me about the lynching, about what you've heard?
Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57, and this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, detective?
I suffered a unusual episode, remember? I lost my badge.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
I could have eaten it for all I know. I don't remember anything.
Oh dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I don't even know how to respond. I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
Alright, we should make a call to the precinct.
She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
How about suggestion?
Feelings will guide the way.
Okay.
I assure you, it is no small matter for me either. We all share the responsibility for disarming this situation. I hope you have a badge for me as soon as possible.
You have so much else. I only have this. I have nothing!
She's silent. The wind flaps the sail above her.
This one, for example, in a home somewhere. I only have this case.
Officer. You know, I don't mean to sound cold, but if you want something, you have to give something back. More than just guilt.
You're doing it. Despite your own best efforts, you're still getting it. Somehow.
I'll be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something tangible. The Union is conducting drug trade out of the harbour. It's an open secret in Martinez. Surely it must not come as a complete surprise to the RCM either. Perhaps it's time to look into it. Or you can find your badge, which honestly seems like a lost cause.
Detective, a word in private before we continue.
Excuse me?
This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective.
How did you hope it would go?
Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and not volunteer us to be her henchman.
That was going so well!
This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
So, we don't investigate the drug trafficking?
No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we're siding with the Union, or that we're on their take. We'd never hear the end of it. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done and demand for her information on the lynching.
Okay, we could just find my badge, but I don't know where that is.
Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time? The world is large and your badge is 8 by 6 centimeters.
The situation might have changed drastically by the time you locate it. Time is of the essence.
You could request a new one from the station, but that would literally take months.
Alright, let's get back to her.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
You seem... Okay, tell me about this alleged trafficking.
It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samaran Isola into Revachol with the Union's blessing. Wild Pines has suspected it for years.
Ingredients for what, ma'am?
Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL, and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff.
So let me get this straight. The materials come from Samara to Venetia through the terminal.
Yes. After they clear the terminal, we lose track. The actual production is taking place at various sites in and around Jamrock Quarter, north of here.
Wild Pine seems to be well apprised of the local drug trade, ma'am. Do you mean to say the Union also produces the product? Sells drugs, I mean?
We're in logistics. It's our business to know. And no. As far as the company knows, the Union does not produce it. They transport the ingredients for a cut.
Alright, and you want us to investigate.
Yes, but you won't get anything out of Evrat and the Dockworkers Union. Still, every chain has its weak link.
The handoff. The motor lorries at the roundabout.
Am I gonna need bolt cutters for this?
Unlikely, officer. I'm talking about the lorries. Once the ingredients reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers, well beyond our grasp. But in transit, they may be vulnerable. Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still hanging about. One of them might be waiting for a crucial shipment. I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you.
Why didn't you come to RCM earlier?
We did. On more than one occasion. Apparently, there's some sort of inter-precinct disagreement about whose jurisdiction this area falls under.
We know the company has launched its own probe into the Union's alleged involvement. We also know it's come up empty. It's not just the RCM. No one's been able to find any hard evidence.
Well, here's your chance, officers.
No coincidence the lorries are stranded there like that, is it?
No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. However, this is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the Trade Committee, they'll have no choice but to lower the drawbridge, and the operation will continue. Thousands of litres of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of Revachol. Not the east across the river, but the west. The vulnerable. The weary.
Well, at least this solves one mystery.
What is that, Lieutenant?
Why I had to call East Motor Track and beg them to open a drawbridge for me. I'd wondered since I first drove in, on my motor carriage.
I am sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kisaragi, but we need them trapped here. This is a unique opportunity. I'm sure you understand.
What proof you have the unions involved?
How do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers going strong for the 4th month straight.
There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike. Many were squeezed to bankruptcy to fund it.
With all due respect to these desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves.
And you think they've been funded by drugs?
Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open up to you.
She simply nods.
Of course, Detective.
Alright.